Let's take a look at solving equations by factoring, more specifically solving the quadratic equation. The quadratic equation has the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Quadratic equation, the highest degree is 2. Don't forget that. Now, how do we solve quadratic equations just strictly by factoring? I know there are other methods. Right now we're only looking at factoring. We're using something that is called the zero product rule, meaning we have a times b is set this equal to 0. So now this could go either way. We can say that a is equal to 0, or we can say b is equal to 0. And that's basically what we're doing. We're factoring the quadratic equation, and then we set each mini factor, as I call them, equal to 0 and solve the mini factor. Let's take a look. Now, in this particular problem, x minus 4 times x plus 3 equals 0, you can see that my quadratic equation is actually already factored. Nice for us, less work to do. So we already have our quadratic equation factored, and how do I know that? Because it's equal to 0. All I need to do now is set each of these mini factors, as I call them, set each mini factor equal to 0. So I'm taking x minus 4, I'm going to set that equal to 0, and x plus 3, set it equal to 0, and then solve for x, add 4. X is equal to 4, and in the other case, x is equal to negative 3. Guess what? Done you are. Beautiful problem. Unfortunately, you don't come across these problems that often. Let's do something that is a little bit more challenging. Let's take a look at 2x squared minus 9x equals 5. Okay, definitely quadratic equation. First step, we need to set it equal to 0. So the 5's got to go to the other side. 2x squared minus 9x minus 5, set it equal to 0. Now we have to factor this trinomial. This trinomial, you either factor by the methods you have previously learned, either by a C method or by trial and error. I'm going to use trial and error in this case. I have a 2x squared, that is my first term, so I factor the 2x squared into 2x and an x here. Now my last term is a 5, and 5 only factors into 5 times 1. So now I have to be smart about this. I try it. I'm going to put my 5 in this spot and my 1 in the other spot. I need a negative 9, so I'm making this one negative and this factor positive. Now you try something. If it doesn't work, erase it and try something new. On the other hand, I've been doing this for 30 years, so I pretty much know what's going on in this case. So I have my factors. Now each factor is going to be set equal to 0. X minus 5 set equal to 0. Then solve for x. Subtract 1 and divide by 2. X is negative 1. Subtract 1, divide by 2, negative 1/2. And on the other side, all we have to do is add 5, and guess what? We are done. The last problem I want to factor is 2y squared equals 20y. Highest degree is a 2, definitely a quadratic equation. First step, we have to set it equal to 0. So the 20y term has to go to the left-hand side by doing the opposite, subtracting it. 2y squared minus 20y equals 0. Now we have to factor the left-hand side. And of course, the very first step for every problem that you factor is to look for a greatest common factor, which we have here. The greatest common factor in this case is a 2, and a y. So we factor out 2y as our greatest common factor. That leaves me with one more y here, minus 10 equals 0. Here you go. We just factored it. Now, each of these mini factors have to be set equal to 0. So don't forget, the 2y is a mini factor in itself. You set it equal to 0. Y minus 10 is the other mini factor, and we set that equal to 0 as well. We solve for y now. You can divide by 2. 0 divided by 2 is 0. And don't forget, this is an answer, perfectly great answer, 0. Add 10 to the other side, y is equal to 10, and there are our two answers. That's it, solving quadratic equations by factoring.